Good afternoon, everyone. We're so excited to kick off our Plugging into Power webinar. Before we get started, we want to let our Spanish-speaking audience know that there is live interpretation available. So please click on the interpretation button at the bottom of the Zoom screen and select Spanish if you'd like to listen to the webinar in Spanish.
Antes de empezar, queremos informar a la gente que habla español que disponemos de interpretación en vivo. Haga clic en el botón Interpretación en la parte inferior de la pantalla de Zoom y elige Español si desea escuchar el webinar en español. Y si no ve el botón de Interpretación, hay también tres ah, puntos que puede ah, tocar para encontrar el botón de interpretación.
Gracias, Jean. That's so helpful. So let's get started. Welcome to our webinar from the UCLA Computer Science Equity Project, 12 Things Parents Should Know About Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence. Because we have such a broad community here today, we'd love to know by sharing in the chat your name, organization, school, or district, and where you're joining from. And then feel free to share any questions in the Q&A feature of Zoom, and we'll try to answer as many questions as we can in this short 30-minute session. My name is Julie Flappin. I'm the parent of 3 kids. I'm also the director of the UCLA Computer Science Equity Project and co-director of CS for CA with Allison Scott of Kapor Center. Part of our research and capacity building work at UCLA informs the advocacy of our Computer Science for California Coalition, where we work together to advance equity, access, and inclusion in computer science and AI across California. I'm thrilled to be joined by some of our research practice partners who will each introduce themselves. So Kelly, please kick us off.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us here this afternoon. My name is Kelly Bedford. I'm a parent of 4 children who've gone through Los Angeles Unified School District. I have 27 years of active parent engagement and also a community activist with a focus around quality education as well as equitable education.
And Rudy is next on our slide, but unfortunately, Rudy is stuck on an airplane with a delayed flight. But I do want to acknowledge all of his contributions to this work.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Julie. I want to start this. Good afternoon. Hey, I'm Daisy Amesqua. I'm a mom of 2 kids, and I'm the director of programs and community organizing for Parent Organization Network here in LA.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jean Rue, Director of Research of the UCLA Computer Science Equity Project and parent of 1 human child and 1 dog child.
Thanks, Jean. So this webinar is based on a guide that together, along with many other parents and caregivers that we created in collaboration. And the Plugging into Power Guide is a collection of practical information and resources created by parents for parents to learn more about computer science and artificial intelligence. The 12 things that we're highlighting today won't cover everything in the guide, so we encourage you to download the PDF or you can check it out on our website after the webinar. There's so much to learn, and today is just the beginning. So as you know, and why we had such a great response to this webinar is there's so much hype about artificial intelligence. And one of the first things that we learned when we started creating the guide was that parents really wanted clarification about what is computer science anyway? What is AI? And we also realized that a lot of learning about what it is also learning about what it isn't. So, Kelly, can you kick us off with what you think parents should understand about computer science and AI?
Absolutely. One thing I did want to start off with is just as education can be found all around us, so can computer science. And computer science is a foundational skill for today's world. It's more than just typing. It's more than writing code or spending countless hours creating those spreadsheets that we all dread sometimes. It teaches students how to solve problems, think creatively, and understand the technology that they use every day. AI is one growing area of computer science where computers learn from information to make decisions, such as your cell phone suggesting words when you text someone or chat GPT answering questions like a real person would. So essentially, it's kind of like AI has learned from us, and there it's collecting our data as we interact with it. I'm bringing this to your attention because as parents, you should know computer science is not often offered in many of our schools, or at least not prioritized as it is in other schools. It boils down to an equity issue. So when parents understand the value of computer science, we can advocate for the opportunities our children deserve in order that they thrive in school and beyond. And in this guide, there are several pages dedicated to clarifying what computer science and AI are, with links to resources to learn more.
Yes, thank you, Kelly. And learning computer science is not just about using technology, it's learning how to be creators of it. It is about the computational and critical thinking skills, problem solving, and creativity involved in working with computing technology. And so this brings us to our next thing parents should know, which is computer science is a broad field of study, and AI is just one branch of computer science. So if we think it's important for students to know about AI, then that means they should be learning about computer science, which is foundational to understanding AI. Artificial intelligence, in particular Gen AI or generative AI, seems like a magical thing to a lot of people, but it's not magic. And so understanding the ethical implications, how human biases get baked into AI, is a critical part of computer science education. And that is why computer science is foundational to AI. So, Daisy, can you share the next thing parents should know about why all students need to learn computer science and AI?
Thank you so much, Julie. Jean, my apologies. For all of us, including myself, right, and who was part of this process in developing this toolkit, we really want to put an emphasis on the importance on ensuring that every student has access to learning computer science and AI. And that is taught by someone that's well prepared, that teaches in an engaging, meaningful, and interesting way. This is important because both computer science and AI have become a form of power in our society and in the world. People who understand computer science and AI and how AI works have access to many more tools, resources, information, and connections to achieve personal and career success. If our children are not learning computer science and AI in ways that it's ethical, careful, and critical about when and how to use computing tools, they can be taken advantage by those who do understand these tools or use them in a harmful way. We included in the guide an exercise to help you identify your values around why you want your students to learn computer science and AI. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing that, Daisy. And we also, parents were telling us that they need to be communicating this to other parents. And so we wanted to share here how critical this knowledge is for our students, no matter what educational and career pathway they choose to pursue. Computing technologies, including AI, touch all fields, from entertainment to auto mechanics, medicine, art, music, sports, agriculture. So helping children develop the critical thinking and problem-solving skills with computer science and AI can support our children in pursuing whatever their passions may be. But we don't mean that everyone must excel with programming skills or Gen AI in their work, right? In fact, what is important here is learning about computer science and AI to be able to critically decide when to use it and for what purpose and for whose benefit. Also to critically decide when not to use it, right? And so just because the technology exists doesn't mean it is always our best option for ourselves, our communities, or our planet. And so we have sections throughout the guide explaining more about this topic and the important questions we should be asking both ourselves and discussing with our children.
Thank you. I agree with that, Jean. And not only is experiencing computer science and AI education important for our children's career pathways, but also for the future of our democracy. Our children need to learn how to be creative with these tools and also to understand how they work so that they are not fooled or misguided by misinformation, disinformation, deep fakes, and poor or illegal uses of their personal data and information. This is a critical point for all of us to understand. Computer science and AI tools can manipulate our understanding of political issues and elections worldwide. And we need to make sure our children know how to access trustworthy information to make healthy decisions that help and not harm. What are your thoughts on this, Julie?
That is such an important point, Kelly. Thank you. It makes me think about how critical it is for parents to know that not everyone learns about how to balance the good and bad of technology tools. There's a tendency to think that technology, especially Gen AI, is the magical silver bullet that will save us all and has all the answers. But we've seen in a lot of research specifically around AI that that's not the case. Human biases get programmed into Gen AI facial recognition tools, and certain organizations have been using Gen AI to track people despite using flawed data. And technology can sometimes cause harm, including violation of our civil rights. But our students and we as parents also need to understand both the positive and negative possibilities of technology so that we can make better informed decisions on how to use it ourselves. This is another reason why computer science is so foundational to learning more about that.
Thanks so much for that, Julie. And this brings us to our next point for parents, which is that computer science and AI education need to center issues of ethics and responsible use as part of the curriculum. It shouldn't be just a side thing or a last minute thought or just an add-on, but actually incorporating these ideas into what students are learning is really critical. If parents find that their children have a computer science class or are using AI in their schools, but also that no one's actually talking about the ethical impacts of computer science and AI, then their children are missing a really serious, important part of computer science and AI education. We're really excited because the new Computer Science Teachers Association teaching standards that will be released in 2026 are really lifting up that focus on ethics and social responsibility in their standards for computer science classrooms. And over 40 states in the nation have been really using the Computer Science Teachers Association standards to guide what they do in classrooms. So we're very excited about that. And we also want to share that in our research at UCLA, focused on students' voices, the students themselves have told us how much they value computer science and AI education experiences that openly discuss ethical issues and openly emphasize responsible uses of computing that critically analyze both the potential good and harm of computing and technology. There are sections in the guide that specifically talk about bias in AI, ethics in computing that you can check out after this webinar to learn more. But a little activity before we jump into the eighth thing for parents to know of the 12 that we're highlighting today. We wanted to do a quick poll in the chat. So if you are able to write in the chat, please write yes or no, or you can write sí or no to this question. Do you know if your child's school or your local school offers computer science or not? Ooh, I'm seeing a lot of yeses. Oh, cool. Some ends as well, some no's. On occasion. Yes. Not in every school. No, no. Yeah. Yes, thank you so much for participating. Um, and please feel free to keep adding your thoughts in the chat. But indeed, parents need to know that not all children have access to computer science education, and those that do have CS or computer science do not always learn about these critical issues. And in fact, only 6% of all US high school students enroll in foundational computer science classes, and only 33% of them are young women, despite the fact, as we know, women are not just 33% of the population. So the other really important thing to know is that English language learners, students with disabilities, and low-income students, students in rural communities, are underrepresented in computer science classrooms. And this is because computer science and AI education are not prioritized nor equally available in all our schools, nor do schools have equal access to the financial resources or teachers prepared to teach computer science. And these issues fall along race, gender, and socioeconomic lines. A report released just last year by Code.org, the Computer Science Teachers Association, and Expanding Computing Education Pathways, or ESEP, revealed that only 60% of US high schools even offer a foundational computer science course. But those schools are not usually in rural areas, low-income communities, schools serving students of color and English language learners. So our guide includes these details and other key demographic statistics if you want to learn more.
Thanks so much, Jean. That's so interesting to really dig deeper into the data. And that's why it's important for parents to know and find out if your schools even offer computer science. What are the policies around AI, if there are any? You can do this by contacting your school's front office and asking directly about it, scheduling a meeting with your child's teacher, the principal, or the school counselor. You can also go to CS for CA on our website to see an interactive data tool to search whether your school or your city in California offers computer science. Or you can look at other sources of data that might be more updated, such as CSTA or code.org. And then we have more information about this in the guide. But even if the data, our data in California is a little outdated because of what gets released from the California Department of Education, it's just a great discussion starter with school leaders in your local community.
Absolutely. And once you find out if computer science is offered in your school, there are many ways to start advocating for improving your children's computer science and AI educational experiences. And we're not just talking about coding. While we have a lot more details in the guide, you can start by finding out what resources your school may lack, whether it's funding, staffing, enough computer science teachers, professional development for teachers, scheduling the time to talk to your school's principal or school district leader. And you may also attend key school site council or English learner advisory committee or other school board, town hall, or key meetings to bring attention to computer science and AI education. Or you might lend your voices to advocate at the state level with the California Department of Education. I personally feel it is important to advocate for computer science opportunities for marginalized students, such as girls, African Americans, English learners, students with disabilities, and other underrepresented groups. But I also would like to add that should your school not offer computer science, you might seek resources outside of the school who might offer those things as well, because everything that should happen inside of our schools is not happening inside our schools. So we may have to look for resources outside of the schools. And I can tell you as a parent, there are many available out there that are free of charge. And
Yes.
one final thing, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
One
go for it.
final thing. Promoting integration across subjects is a great way to advocate for computer science. Suggesting small computer science experiences in courses like math, science, art, and our career technical education or CTE classes would spark curiosity in students. So talk with your student, find out what's going on, and then you can better advocate for your child. Thank you. I'm sorry. Go
That's
ahead.
such a great point, Kelly, because that makes me also think about there are a lot of teachers too who aren't necessarily computer science majors in college or have CS backgrounds, but who get really excited about teaching it. So thanks for sharing that last point too about like not only for, when you talk to your child or children in your life about things that they are interested in and how CS can overlap or computer science can overlap and be integrated. It's also like, oh, there might also be like an art teacher, a music teacher in your school who wants to be the one who brings that into the community as well. Um, yeah. And then, so in the next point we wanted to share, if you want to learn more about local advocacy, we want to say hit up Daisy or Kelly here in the chat because they are totally experts. So we're so excited to have them here. Um, and yeah, just phenomenal. So they might have, and of course we're speaking from a California context, but that might still be applicable to other states. So if you're coming from a different state, still worth talking to Daisy and Kelly. So yes, and this next point about, whether or not your child has access to computer science and AI education in their school, there are ways you can start helping your child be successful with these technological tools and thinking skills at home, like Kelly was mentioning, also outside of school. So even if you don't have a computer or reliable internet access, the guide includes a set of starter resources for children age 4 to 18. And you can also begin this kind of entry into computer science and AI education through informal conversations, discussing current events about larger social and ethical issues related to technology that you read in the newspaper or heard about. Just talking at the dinner table about these ideas can sometimes spark interest, or reading books together that have to do with computing technology. Science fiction can also be an inspiration for curiosity. Um, we released a graphic novel that's about computer science and AI called Power On or Conectados in Spanish. So all of these tools can support conversations with your children outside of school. And yeah, go for it, Daisy.
Thank you. As parents, we are, it's important. As parents, we are our children's first guides and teachers. Because of this, this is important to talk about our children about computer science and AI, to help them see themselves within these fields. Building this awareness early on can encourage them to pursue computer science and AI and learning opportunities. If you're unsure on how to start this conversation, use the toolkit to guide you and to prepare you. It's important for students to recognize the ways that they already interact with computer science on a daily basis, so they can see themselves capable of pursuing a career in computer science. Some students may be hesitant to explore computer science because they don't feel that or that they fit the stereotype of who is good at computers, right? Unfortunately, both media and the tech industry have reinforced these stereotypes, but it doesn't have to be that way, right? It doesn't have to be the case. You can share examples of successful women and people of color, who have been in this field and who are successful, to support them, and who are thriving, so they can see themselves and connect and relate to them in a sense that computer, a career in computer science is possible. You can also use the sentence starters and discussion prompt in the guide to help you spark meaningful conversation about computer science and AI with the young people in your life.
Thank you so much, Daisy. I think that's probably the most important point for us to end on. And that is really engaging with young people in our lives about the contradictions, the good, the bad of technology, and how do we make sense of our world with technology. So we hope that these 12 pointers help you feel empowered and inspired to download the full guide, which is available at pluggingintopower.org. And on the website, that's where you can download a PDF, both in English and Spanish, or look at it directly on the website. We also have videos of parents just like Daisy and Kelly, and you can explore other resources that we have. Obviously, this half hour is just a taste of what is available. And we hope you'll feel like sharing the link with your friends and family too. We'd like to really thank all of our parent partners and educators who've contributed to the co-creation of the guide and the website. And we also want to thank our sponsors, Siegel Family Endowment and Google.org for their support as well, and also expanding computing education pathways. And for those of you in California who want to deepen your work in parent engagement and in learning more about computer science and AI, we encourage you to check out our new request for applications for California-based organizations. So I'm sorry to anyone who's not in California, but we are seeking at least two LEAs interested in joining our parent advocacy efforts. So we're looking for two regional local education agencies or nonprofit regional partners to deepen this work at a local level. The application link is available as of today at the top of our website at Plugging into Power. But if whether you're applying for the RFA or you're not in California or you are in California and you want to stay up to date on all things computer science and AI, we encourage you to sign up for our newsletter at cs4ca.org. And you can always find more information at Plugging into Power. So I want to thank you all for joining our webinar. We also have a very short survey for you to share your thoughts on today's presentation. Because we're just launching this research practice partnership and initiative in engaging parents, we really appreciate your feedback on what was helpful and also, more importantly, what was missing. What would you like to see more of? And how could we design according to your needs for future events? So I don't know. I think we have 1 minute for questions. I'm going to turn it. It looks like Jean is answering questions, but I'm going to turn it to, and also I want to thank our colleague behind the scenes, Michelle Choi, who's been looking at questions and is not on the front of this webinar, but we really appreciate all of her work behind the scenes. So Michelle, are there any questions in the chat that came up that you want us to address in the last minute?
I think Jean answered that one in the chat.
Great.
Unless there's anything else that you wanted to say about that, Jean?
Or others who have ideas. But yeah, Christy brings up a really good point about AI is constantly changing. So how do we ensure that families are kept in the loop? And I mean, I think that's also the challenge of just like technology and computer science in general, so rapidly evolving. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think
I think I'll just add to that is continuing to have this community of practice of other parents and caregivers who are also sharing this concern about both the positive and the negative of technology and keeping these conversations alive and reaching out. We have a lot of resources in the guide that can help keep you updated, and we will do our best to keep you updated. But I think also continuing this conversation way beyond today's webinar is another good way to stay updated.
Lady Cynthia Chandler is asking if you can show the QR code once again.
Great. Thank you, Kelly.
Thanks, Kelly.
Alerting us.
Yeah, and also finding out and developing a list of where are the reputable and trustworthy sources of information to go to know what is the latest in technology changes and advancement, or what are the key issues that we should be keeping an eye on, So that's also, I think, a great way. But we welcome your ideas too, Christy. I know that you're very active in computer science education and do amazing work.
Great. Well, thank you everyone for your questions and for providing us feedback so that we know what your needs are and how we can continue to respond to them. I want to give a huge thank you to Daisy and Kelly and my colleagues Michelle and Jean. as well as our interpreter, Lorna Silva. So appreciative for that. So thank you so much and have a great weekend.